You're tuned in to the TVL Rundown, a comprehensive look at the athletics and athletes within the Twin Valley League. Joined by Jeff Wurtz of the TVL Spotlight, I'm Max Blaske with KNDY. The TVL Rundown is a service of the Citizens National Bank in Greenleaf and Bruna Implement.
Another reason to make the Citizens National Bank your bank. With the century of experience, you know you can count on us for convenient banking and personal service for people you know and trust. With extended hours and online banking for all your financial needs. Another reason to make the Citizens National Bank your bank.
For the best in farming equipment with the service to back it, there is only one Bruna Implement Company, your local Case IH dealer. Since 1947, the staff at Bruna Implement Company works daily to provide the best parts and service when you need it, always dedicated to their customers. Bruna Implement Company has been family-owned for 3 generations, and they know what it takes to be successful as your area Case IH dealer. With locations in Marysville, Washington, Clay Center, Seneca, Hiawatha, and Humboldt, Nebraska. Stop by or give them a call today.
Welcome into this week's edition of the TVL Rundown. As always, joined with Jeff Wurtz of the TVL Sports Spotlight as the high school basketball season is in full swing with postseason action. We're going to start by looking at the Class 1A Division II girls Wakefield bracket. Top seed Hanover will take on 9 seed Natoma. 2nd seed Lynn will take on 7 seed Tesket. 3 seed Blue Valley will take on 6 seed Stafford. And 4 seed Axtell will take on 5 seed Pike Valley. All of those games will be Monday at 6 p.m. And as we look at the bracket, Jeff, we're going to have the coverage of the Axtell Pike Valley game on FM 95.5 next Monday. But I'm really looking forward to seeing how the Axtell Eagles get out of this round. They've been dealing with injuries. I fully expect Hanover and Lynn both to get victories in their games. But how nice is it, though, for all 4 of these teams to be playing in front of a home crowd their first time out after getting first-round byes?
You know, we always say that's a big factor, and at this point in the season, it is. You get that backing, but you also don't have to travel. You don't have to ride that bus. We know what riding a bus, hours and hours, we haven't done it in a while. You and I haven't done it in a while, but it's a factor. It's a factor. It wears you down, and yeah, it's huge to have that home court advantage in these first couple of rounds, and getting there and starting, I think, is the biggest key for these teams, just getting off the ground first.
Well, and you bring up a good point. It's not something that we talk about week in and week out, but just that thought of getting on a bus, having to travel to a game, play your lone game and then get back on it and go home doesn't help anyone's mojo, I guess, from that standpoint. So all 4 of these teams able to play at home. And, be honest, Jeff, we talked about the gauntlet the TVL girls was all season. I fully expect all 4 of these teams, Hanover, Lynn, Blue Valley, and Axtell, to make it into championship round and have an all Twin Valley League 1A Division II girls sub-state championship games.
We don't want to put the cart before the horse, but you look at these brackets, and it does set up really well. But we've talked about this, Max. All it takes is one bad shooting night, and you can struggle all night long. It could be your undoing. And we've seen that already with a couple of teams that looks like absolute shoo-ins. You've still got to bring it. You've still got to lace your shoes up and get on the floor and play these games.
Nope, you're 100% right. You've got to play your best ball this time of year, and that's the most important part. As we look at the 1A Division II boys sub-state bracket, both Blue Valley and Lynn were able to get first-round wins on Monday, pretty well in convincing fashion. Blue Valley over Chase County 62-15, and Lynn over Wakefield 77-30. That matches up the 5-seed Blue Valley Rams against 3-seed Tesket, who is 15-7, and 5-seed Lynn against 4-seed Thunder Ridge, who is 12-7. Those 2 games, I'm looking at really good competition and an opportunity for the TVL to really show what they're made of. As we talked all season on the boys, that middle of the pack is just as dangerous, I think, as the top 2 teams, which are Axtell and Hanover.
Without a doubt. But these guys are going to get challenges in this round. This is where things really heat up. And I saw Lynn on the night of the game, I was able to catch the Blue Valley replay. Blue Valley looked really good, as the score shows, but both of these teams had little things. Again, it's the little things at this time of year that can be your plus or your minus.
And I'm with you there too. I talked with Coach Margdale after they fell to Frankfurt there, but have an opportunity if they can just get a full 4 quarters of playing their best basketball. I think they're one of the teams that can make a run. And same for Blue Valley, a trio of double-digit scores. If they've can take what they've learned in the Twin Valley League and move it on, don't be surprised if we see both 5 seeds in this bracket upset the 3 and 4 seed respectively. Of course, on the top side of the bracket, top seed Axtell takes on 8 seed Pike Valley, 2 seed Hanover takes on 10 seed Stafford. All these games that we're talking about for the 1A Division II boys are Saturday at 2 p.m. with Hanover and Axtell hosting Blue Valley and Lynn on the road, which kind of opposite of the girls game, Jeff, for Blue Valley and Lynn, they're having to get on the bus. They're having to, go into a hostile environment. Although they've played in it all season, that adds just a little bit more, depth into the contest.
It gives you one more thing to have to battle. The travel is a double-edged sword because you're not staying in that same area the entire day and then having to, okay, let's turn it on from just regular day to game day. You get that chance to turn that on a little bit. And as in everything this time of year, there's 2 sides to every story. You've got to figure it out, though, once that ball tips. And I think all of these teams have that ability to just go from the opening tip. So we'll find out. We'll find out what these teams are really made of in this round.
Just flipping that switch that's so important here this time of year as we shift our attention to the 1A Division I girls bracket. The headline story, 10 seed Frankfurt came into the contest 7-15 against 7 seed Canton Galva 13-8 and absolutely handled the Eagles 52-31 to move on to second round action on Tuesday night. Jeff, I know you were listening in or watching that game, and I think we talked about it before. Frankfurt, one of those teams, they got healthy late in the season. Let's see what they can do in postseason. Now they will match up against 2 seed Centralia, who beat them earlier in the year, but a heck of a win in first round for head coach Doug Thompson.
It really was. It was an impressive. If there were any teams that really impressed me to a point where I just said, wow, that was the team. It really was. I know these teams are capable, but what they did in that first round was beyond what I expected. And, I don't want to look down on Frankfurt at all, but that was big. It really was impressive. So I think that gives them a lot of momentum, but that battle is going to be very tough in the next round.
Yeah, I don't want to use the term David and Goliath, but when you're facing off against the reigning state champion in Centralia and Frankfurt, like we said, kind of a rough season this far, they're going to give them their best shot. We know that for a fact, but heck of a win there for the Wildcats on the bottom side of that bracket. Clifton Clyde took care of Onega 57-32. Tuesday night, that'll match them up against 3 seed Olpe. And, one of those teams that we don't do a lot of talking about just because they're a little bit farther west, but Clifton Clyde, I've noticed their box scoring. They're getting some scoring from some other girls besides Sevy Wurtz, who is putting together another all-state performance this season. But if Clifton Clyde can get hot, we'll call it an upset 6 and 3 seed. But boy, those Clifton Clyde Lady Eagles, if they can get going against Olpe, don't be surprised if you don't see Clifton Clyde and then a Twin Valley League matchup on the other side between Centralia and Frankfurt matchup in the championship game.
And Clifton Clyde right now has a lot of confidence because, as you said, they are really, over the last month, have come together as a really impressive team. And that's what really is propelling them. Those other teams that come in prepare for their biggest shooters. And the confidence that has popped into the rest of the team, whether it's on the court during a game or in practice or just in conversation, this is a confident team right now.
Talk about a confident team real quick as we look at the Class 1A Division I boys bracket. Centralia was able to get an overtime win over Frankfort Monday night, 73-65. Of course, kudos to the Frankfort Wildcats on the season they had. But if you want to talk about a momentum-building win against an in-district opponent to go on and now take on top seed Olpe, who was a state, I think they made state last year if memory serves correct. Boys, Centralia, if they can ride that momentum of Frankfort, watch out for the Panthers under head coach Nick Evans.
And that being an overtime game, and that being really in that overtime, they were able to put together maybe their best quarter of basketball that I've seen in quite some time. And like you said, it's going to be an uphill challenge, but right now, Centralia, like I said, just playing some really good basketball.
And as all are these Twin Valley League teams as we get ready for, again, action coming up Saturday, Monday, and Tuesday next week, too, as well as we quickly look at the 2A bracket at the time of recording. Don't know the results of the 2A girls, but Valley Heights takes on Washington County, and then Doniphan West takes on Jackson Heights. In the 2A boys bracket, it is Washington County at Valley Falls Friday, and Doniphan West at Linden on Friday, too, as well. So some more 2A teams able to get in action and kind of make their mark as this postseason goes along. Like we mentioned, it's going to be a busy week with action coming up Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, next Friday and Saturday here for the Twin Valley League. As always, Jeff, where can folks keep up with everything going on inside the Twin Valley League?
Head over to tvlspotlight.com as well as social media, Facebook and Twitter. I have a new podcast coming out yesterday, and just with all the information from Tuesday night's game, as well as setting you up for the rest of the week.
And, of course, we'll have a full preview of Sub-State Championship action on next week's edition of the TVL Rundown. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. For Jeff Wurtz of the TVL Sports Spotlight, this has been Max Blaske with KNDY Radio.
You've been tuned in to the TVL Rundown, a comprehensive look at the athletics and athletes within the Twin Valley League. Joined by Jeff Wurtz of the TVL Spotlight, I'm Max Blaske with KNDY. The TVL Rundown is a service of the Citizens National Bank in Greenleaf and Bruna Implement.